Life. What is real anymore? It's time to pull back the curtains of reality and explore life in the hologram. We've unlocked our library hidden deep within the Matrix and are ready to take you on a tour of the cosmos. Come in as we discuss everything from spirituality, psychics, healers, ghosts, as well as UFOs, and the unknown. It's time to forget what you think you know and explore life in the hologram.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a good something somewhere in the world as we speak. And welcome to Life in the Hologram on the Revolution Radio Network. And we have a little card here, and we're with Caroline Bell Tumbley and Madeline Rudy. And our card says, turn the page, move on from the past, step into the unknown, and blessings avail.
Ooh, I like that, Madeline.
Yeah.
That was
Caroline, great. What's going on in your end of the world?
What's going on in my end of the world? Well, we always have a crisis with the boats. I think I've told that to you a number of times. My daughter was unable to go to work for it was almost 3 weeks. And what happened, they were they're supposed to land in this harbour, but they were diverting the boats, and it was weather related, but there was also shenanigans happening. There's a big kerfuffle here with the boats, waiting for them to be ready for the water and discovering that they're never going to be ready, and we could have had 5 boats at this time. So she went back to work today for the first time, and it is so uncertain. Everything seems to be really uncertain for the islanders, people who really depend on boats. In Scotland, we have a lot of islands. There's a lot of islanders up here. We prided ourselves on our Royal Navy, and yet we don't seem to be able to build boats anymore. So that's where we're at here. So yeah, that's my wee rant. Other than that, weather was actually nice today. Birds were singing early in the morning. We had a mist roll in. I love the mist. It's always full of magic. And other than that, life's good. What about you, Madeline? How was your day? How's it been for the past week?
Crazy.
Yeah?
Crazy. The little guy was sick, so his dad stayed home with him, and it was good that he did.
Mm-hmm. Is he better? Is he feeling better?
Yeah, he's coming around. Around. I think he had that RVS or RSV or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm. But he's good.
So,
he's on the mend.
Yeah.
Good.
Emmett, we were sitting there, and Emmett was playing a game, and Joshy was sleeping, and it sounded like he said, "Hi, Dad," or "Hi, Josh," and Emmett and I looked at each other. He said, "He's talking in his sleep."
Oh, yeah.
So we had a good laugh.
Oh, that's good. Oh, the kids must love you, Madeline. You must have them laughing all the time. You have such a great laugh.
We had a good laugh. We looked at each other, and Emmett said, "What'd he say?" I said, "I don't know. I thought he said, 'Hi, Joshy.'" He says, "I thought he said, 'Hi, Dad.'"
He's both heard something different. Oh, and we have a great guest tonight, don't we, Madeline?
We do.
Yes,
oh my
we
God,
do.
We do.
Yeah, we have Michael Feeley, and I'm going to read you Michael's bio. We had it up on Facebook, but I'm just going to read it off. It is Michael Feeley is a former UK police officer and now author, ancient code breaker and symbologist. Michael has appeared on America's largest radio shows, Coast to Coast with George Noory, as well as on Midnight in the Desert Radio with Tim Weisberg Art Bell Show. He has also appeared on The Other Side of Midnight Radio show with Richard C Hoagland, the researcher who geometrically mapped out the Cydonian city on planet Mars. I might not have pronounced that right. Michael has recently presented a documentary series called Higher Consciousness on Iconic TV, David Icke's channel, and has also appeared in an iconic film called Divine Intervention, also featuring David Icke and Erich von Daniken, and is about to embark on his own TV show called Michael Feeley's Higher Knowledge on Iconic TV, where he will be revealing the deepest of secret wisdoms. People believe that the language of the world is like, what is that? People believe that the language of the world is the likes of English and German, French, Chinese, etc. It isn't. The true language of our world is a hidden language of codes. Michael goes to the very heart of Greek, Hebrew, and English, hidden cipher, and reveals the true meaning of our most loved systems of belief. But he warned, the truth is not what we have been taught. Sit back and absorb the knowledge of the temples of secrecy, deciphered like never before. So welcome, Michael.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you both. Good evening.
Yeah, Michael and I go back a long ways, don't we?
We certainly do, many years.
Yeah.
Sorry it's been so long.
It's okay. We were on a different time schedule, and now we're on this one. And a whole new radio station.
Yes, not much has changed in the meantime.
No. And a lot of exciting things might be happening because we could be going video too. Right, Caroline?
Yeah, the Revolution Radio, like they're making some really cool upgrades, so they are, and kind of streamlined. I feel like it's gone through a rebirth.
Yeah.
Like the station, like it's quite exciting what they
go out to all different venues.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that'll be exciting.
I think they'll have connections with like uploading it up to Rumble for what I was seeing with the information. So that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to do our faces up.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be on camera. Ah.
I'll have to put my ball gown on.
Well, if I know ahead of time, like when you mentioned it earlier, I was like, I'm not ready for camera.
Because Michael wanted to know whether it was video or audio. I said it's just audio. You can go in your pajamas.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, as they say, I have the face for radio.
You have the face for radio. So, Michael, you're in England. How has it been there this week?
Well, it's been a mixture, really. It's been obviously a politics show in the news. Weather-wise, it's nice and sunny today, nice and warm. Nothing much changes in relation to the world. There's lots of things that we're not aware of that are happening. And eventually we will be told. But there's lots going on, and there's the manifest that we see, and there's always the unmanifest that remains told for now. So life in this country is the same as it's always been, really. There are those that know, and there are those that don't. Yeah.
I think that's the world over.
Yeah. And over here, it's just Trump show.
Is it really? Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, I hope
we get over this soon.
Well, as an election year, they're going to ramp it up here as well. They already are.
So what do you think's going to happen, Michael?
In terms of the U.S. elections or globally?
Anything. What the heck is going on?
What is going on in the next 26 years, the world will change. And I've come to that conclusion having looked at numerous mathematical codes, and the same date, the same amount of years has come up repeatedly, whichever way that I've looked at it. So that could be tomorrow, or it could be the year 2050. But between 2024 and 2050, everything will change. And there will be unorthodox craft that are already increasing in sightings. but there will be unauthorized crafts that are flying through the skies, and they will be as normal as the airliners are today. But certainly everything's going to change. Of course, at the moment in your country and mine and Cadeline's country, because it is election year, then it's pretty much, a Punch and Judy politics show, and everything, we promise one thing and never get it, and we promise that one party is different to the other party. In reality, whoever you vote for, the government gets in. So I really do wish people would stop being fooled by deceitful liars who never tell the truth and cannot be trusted. So
and they're not on your side.
Well, no, you just name one government any time in history that's actually been there for the benefit of the people. I think you'd be hard pushed to name one, really. So why do people continue, to fall for the same thing time and time and time again? It's because they don't have the mental capacity to see beyond it.
The foundation's not there, They have nothing really to build on. Education system made sure of that. It's like
everything's kaput, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's not really.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Bring the 60s back when they used to march for everything.
You have to have a personal desire to see through it. And I really don't know how obvious it has to become in order for that desire to be instilled. My education system was standard state education.
Yeah, me too.
I was considered, not in so many words, but when I read my school reports back, I was always the person in the corner that never interacted, never got involved, considerably the dunce of the class. I grew up on a council estate. My upbringing is really no different to the majority of other people, and yet I had that internal desire to know. Yeah. And it's that desire to want to know and to see through the rubbish that makes you seek out the truth. And if more people had that desire instead of just accepting what they're told, because that way they then don't have to do anything, then the world would be different. But as I say, the world is going to be different, and that will happen in the next 26 years.
And you say that there will be craft that will be in the sky and it will be a common occurrence. Like, can you talk a wee bit more about that? Yeah,
with a change of world, with basically a 7th civilization of knowledge bearers, knowledge keepers. When more and more people become expanded mentally, physically, spiritually, genetically, then they will be more able to tolerate greater things, greater presences. So what we're seeing at the moment is an introduction and an attempt at expansion, so people can accept the possibility of these greater existences. It couldn't happen all in one go because it would literally just blow the circuits. So it has to be done gradually in order for people to be able to accept this greater presence. So the more and more people are able to accept this greater presence, with the more and more sightings that are going on, the more and more it will become commonplace. And that really is what we are heading towards. Not a government-led disclosure, because anything that involves the government is not something to be really held in high regard. Going back to the comments I made about when has the government ever served the people, it will be no different in terms of disclosure of extraterrestrial beings, because it will be the benevolent ones. The benevolent ones do not see governments as representative of the people, so they do not engage with them. So if your government says, these people come in peace, then be very wary. If it's government-led, we have a problem, so take it with a pinch of salt. But it will be commonplace because people will be gradually expanded to accept it in order for it to become commonplace.
Isn't it commonplace, though, in like I think in Mexico, it's kind of commonplace. Maybe Peru, it's commonplace. But here, like no, you didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Well, in the ancient past, it was commonplace. You know, it was a common occurrence. It was a common dual interaction between different dimensions, different worlds, different realities. And there's many artifacts and many evidences that that was the case. So it's commonplace without it being officially commonplace. And more people are seeing things, and more people are experiencing things. There is no government and there is no military that is going to stop what is coming. The days that are to come are to be the greatest witnesses. And what we have seen so far is nothing compared to what is going to happen. And there is no military, there is no government that will stop that.
Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad?
It's going to be good because humanity will be coming out of its dark age. And as I say, that time frame, I don't for one moment believe that it will be anywhere near 26 years. But between now and 2050, the world is going to change.
So when you mention a presence, like, who are they? Like, what is this presence?
Well, it's all the multiple existences that always live around us, that always live in a different frequency bandwidth that we don't ordinarily see because we are not on the same frequency bandwidth as they are. And they are interdimensional beings that can insert themselves in different dimensions. If you imagine dimensions are like blankets stacked upon each other, and you have those that are able to insert themselves between different blankets, and that is really interdimensional travel. So who are they? They are existences from all over the universe that are able to come into multiple dimensions, including ours. And everything really, when we look at planets and the solar system generally and beyond, these planets exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. So when we look at the likes of the moon and we look at the likes of Mars, and on the face of it, they look desolate, they look uninhabited. But bear in mind that that's just one dimension. If we could see into the other dimensions that are in simultaneous existence, we would see that life is quite prominent, not only on the surface, but in the center of all of these planets. So it's a mixture of all of these multiple existences that exist around us and always have and always will.
Well, how did some of these people from other existences really get here? I mean, there's so many, like light years away from us, but they seem to be able to swoop in. I mean, did it take them light years to get here, or they're just coming through some kind of wormhole and dropping in really quick?
Well, they do come through wormholes because I've seen them do it. So I do know for a fact that they do come through this way. But when you are traveling at the speeds that they are traveling, light speed, for example, when you travel at light speed, the beginning of your journey and the end of your journey is in the same place. So effectively, there is no time and there is no distance.
Right.
So when you say, how do they get here? Well,
they're already here.
Well, they're already here, and here is already everywhere else.
Right.
So the same way as everywhere else is already here.
Well, the thing I was listening to a physicist, NASA physicist talking, and she was saying about what I was thinking, the whole heaviness of a rocket that they're putting up today. How many tons of weight is that to shoot it off the ground? But I don't think that the people that are coming from other galaxies have that kind of equipment. I think they have like a pliable equipment that, if you're in a several ton rocket ship that's going lightning speed, I think you're going to burn up, aren't you?
They are many thousands of years ahead of where we are in the mainstream. Of course, there's Black Ops stuff that is well advanced to what we know publicly, but the craft are different. They have a different trajectory. They have a different, should we say, law of physics, because the law of physics that we experience is only relevant to the third dimension. And the law of physics really is just mathematical behavior as is thought. So you have these craft that firstly are not the same kind of metal. They're not operating under the same laws of physics. They are being piloted by the power of thought. Some of these craft are actually the bodies of the pilots. You have the ones that don't even need craft because they are they are light bodies. They are light travelers, and because they have a light body, they are able to go through the dimensionless universe, which is light and thought, into the dimensional universe, which is the one that we exist in. So because light can do that. So we're looking at a complete different law of physics in relation to what they can do and what we can seemingly do.
Yeah, I guess they've been at it for thousands and thousands of years.
So do you think they're us?
Yes, I think advanced benevolent extraterrestrials are advanced humans.
Yeah.
And what simply happens is, if you use this earthly experience, I mean, everything is really just a dream of the mental singularity anyway, which is the universal mind. But if you take advantage of this experience and you use that to mature spiritually, for want of a better phrase, then you will no longer be compatible with the earth frequency. And if you are no longer compatible with the earth frequency, when you are pushed through electrical current grids back to the afterlife, then you will not come back to Earth. You will go to another star system, which you are compatible with. So these benevolent beings are advanced humans that have surpassed the Earth frequency, and they're continuing that experience in another star system with another chemical formula, with another chemical element, with different frequency bands. It is all the space within space. And there are multiple, my father's house has many rooms, as we are told. And that really is the different frequency bands that we inhabit.
So you're thinking that when they wrote the Bible or parts of it, they were trying to tell us a different story than what the story is that they hammer into our head.
Yes, you'll never understand the Bible if you read it as a book. You'll never understand the Bible if you read it from left to right. You have to read it from right to left. You have to look what's not being stated, because the truth is in between. And the original Bible is the Giza Plateau. So everything that's in the Bible comes from Egypt. It is Egyptian Gnosticism that was corrupted and converted into Judaism, into the Kabbalah, which then was further corrupted into what we have as Christianity today. It then went over into Greek with the Greek philosophers who were mystery school initiates of ancient Egypt. And then you have all of this Greek philosophy. You have all of this Sumerian and Babylonian and Mesopotamian secret knowledge that again comes from the same epicenter, which is Egypt. So when you look at biblical things, if you understand it at its true meaning, it is a work of genius. If you see it as a 120-year-old man that built a wooden ark that housed every animal, every bird, every insect of the world, then you are effectively believing a children's story.
Yeah, like the whole flood, well, there has been many, but they talk about a deluge, like in multiple civilizations or in the realm. And so I think it's kind of, well, I don't even know if it's safe to assume, because it's not really safe to assume anything about history. But the idea that there have been some catastrophic events that have occurred I think that has happened. I think it has happened.
Yeah, but when you actually look at that statement, and you say that there's multiple civilizations around the world that do speak of a catastrophe, but nevertheless they existed at the time of this catastrophe, and they were documenting it, and they lived through it, which is contrary to what we are told.
Yeah, it was a great deluge. Yeah.
So we are told that Noah and his family were the ones that survived the flood. Well, yet when you look at the Fifth Dynasty of Egypt and say other civilizations around the world, they lived through this so-called flood. So it is not the catastrophe that the Bible tells us.
Right.
So if it is not what we are being told, then what is it? Why is it that Israeli archaeologists have said, and they've got on public record as saying, in 70 years of excavation, we have not found one single piece of physical evidence of the biblical Exodus. Why is that?
Interesting.
Because it was a metaphor, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's an anatomical process that takes.
We have a break. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Michael. But I can hear the music in the background, so I believe we have a 3-minute break. Yeah, that is odd. It's usually at the top of the hour. Okay, we'll be right back, listeners.
Yeah.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, your lives are becoming more difficult as the life force of your world is draining away. Have you noticed that as everything around you seems to decline, one thing still grows? It is the power of your rulers. None of their plans and directives have solved your problems or made your life better. The only result has been their increased control over you at the cost of your freedom. Do you know why? You gave them the power. They called for your sacrifice, and you thought it was noble. They said if you worked for yourself and your family, that you were selfish and uncaring. And they made you feel ashamed. They denounced the leaders of industry as greedy exploiters. You agreed. All evil needs to win is the consent of good people. To everyone within the range of my voice, you now have a choice to make. If you decide to support the notion of sacrifice enforced by the state, your game is up. Your world is in a downward spiral, and you will ride it down to destruction. But if you share the values, if you believe that your life is a sacred possession for you to make the most of, if you want to live by the judgment of your own mind, not edicts from the state, then follow our lead. Do not support your own oppressors. Stop letting the system exploit you. Form your own communities on the frontiers of your crumbling world. Your rulers hold you by your endurance to carry the burdens they impose, by your generosity when you hear cries of despair, and above all, by your innocence which cannot grasp the depths of their evil. The world you are living in is the world they wanted. Leave them to it. Those who are eager to build a better world, a world of freedom and opportunity, a world based on mutual respect. In that world, you will not receive alms, nor pity, nor forgiveness of sins, but honor, respect, and justice. Don't let the fire go out spark by irreplaceable spark in confusion and despair. The world you desire can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It is yours.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. The #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. It's your world. Take it. Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the number one listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio! Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at buyer risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily...
I think we're back.
Well, you've been listening to Life in the Hologram on Revolution Radio, and we're here with Michael Feeley, and we had a surprise.
Yeah, we did. We got a break, and it was great.
Yeah, don't forget, we are listener-supported, so if you have money for a coffee, you have money for us.
Yeah.
Had
that
it into the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plenty of great shows, hosts, wonderful guests, and as Madeline just said, it is listener supported. Revolution Radio is all volunteers behind the scenes, and they're doing a grand job. Thank you, everybody working behind the scenes. Thank you so much, and welcome back, Michael Feeley.
Yeah, Michael.
Well, thank you. We came back as quick as we left.
We did.
Well, we had a surprise. It's usually at the top of the hour, but I think the last 2 weeks we didn't have any at all, so we got an early one today.
Yeah, we got it at the half hour. I think what's happening is I have a show right after Madeline, and mine only goes for an hour, and I had requested like a half hour break. I think maybe something got kind of crossed. The wires got crossed there. I don't know. But maybe no. Maybe you're getting a break at the top of the hour as well. Maybe it's every half hour. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll find out. We'll find out
in the next half hour.
You know, when I was looking at your some of your information, Michael, I saw that you have an event coming up in March. Is that right?
Yeah.
I do have a few events coming up. Sometimes they're being cancelled and other times they're not. Mm-hmm. So I had an event.
Who would cancel you?
Yeah, really?
Well, funny enough, Rosslyn Chapel for one.
What?
We had it all organised. We had people flying in from America, booked hotels. We had everything arranged. We had authority from the chapel for me to go around and do a guided tour and speak about the truths that were there. Yeah. And then literally, I think it was about 10 days before the event, give or take, there was an email from the director saying, sorry, I'm not going to allow you to do it anymore. And basically in the email communications that followed, basically exposed him as being a complete liar. Mm-hmm. So what he said is he'd had a Google alert in relation to my event. What? And I wasn't going to be allowed to do it. What had happened is the Sinclair family, who now run Rosslyn Chapel, had pretty much told him to get it stopped, which is what he did. So I did say to them that, well, whatever I was going to expose on the day, I will still expose. So be ready for it. So that's it really. The ironic thing is, for me, who speaks a lot about secret societies, has now actually become one, because I now have to keep the location of my events quiet until the last possible moment. So just like all other secret societies, you become too powerful and you get pushed underground and you have to start doing things in secret. So, yeah, the likes of Roslin Chapel in Edinburgh is one of them that have stopped that. And there's been other events that have been cancelled as well, last moment. But it won't stop anything. It just means there'll be a greater determination to get things out. And
also it'll increase the interest, you know?
It does. It does. It does, because people want to know. You know, the mystery is often greater than the answer.
So what did the Sinclair family feel that you were going to expose?
Them.
The truth, which has always been their greatest enemy. You know, see what you have is you have something that is portrayed as historical fact, and it is not historical fact.
No, it is not.
It is the same as when I contacted both the Cairo Museum and the Egyptology department of the British Museum in London, and I said that I have a lot of information in relation to this wonderful land, Egypt. At my time, at my expense, can I attend your venue and discuss what I found? And the Cairo Museum replied saying, no thanks, we're mainstream. And the British Museum replied, thanks, we'll pass it on. And I never heard from them again. So it's not in their interest to go against the official narrative, the official historical story, which is not true. So, you know, they don't want people to know what is true. They want people to know what they think is true.
Yeah, because it feeds the whole like scenario that they have going on. But you know, I see like there's some kind of cowardness I see. You know, I mean, there are so many people like yourself, Michael, who are really, really working hard to bring forward a truth that will help us not be so confused about everything, and like clear it up and get some clarity and put the puzzle together. But there seems to be this coward. I just see it as cowardly, you know, in the academic realm, that they could, you know, they really could just stand up and say, you know, admit it, you know, just admit it. Like a lot of it is just nonsense.
But I don't think a lot of people want to know the truth, do they?
Well, there's that too, Madeline. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, it comes down to them to insist on finding the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it, you know, it's quite, as I say, it's quite obvious that there's something not right. That it's quite obvious that there's something amiss. It's quite obvious that when you actually, you know, use that amoeba singular brain cell that you have, that there's something not connecting. So what is it? Now, and some people need a big catalyst for that inspiration, and other people don't. Right. But there is a cowardice. You know, you have the likes of science, you know, mainstream science. You have the likes of mainstream everything that would have to admit that they were misleading people all of this time.
Yeah,
have to admit that there is a greater power than them, and to them, they then become irrelevant. So it is much easier for them to maintain the official false narrative than it would be to admit that we're now irrelevant and there's always been a greater presence than we. But we've never told you.
Well, couldn't you have just gone in the Roslin Chapel with somebody that had just a camera and
that's
did your thing and the heck with them?
Well, that's in the pipeline. That's in the pipeline. So what?
Yeah, you got to get real creative about your planning and.
We have, and what will happen as well is it's going to be part of a documentary, and the episode of the documentary that was going to be what's in Roslin Chapel will now just be changed to what are they trying to stop us revealing. So, and we will do that. You know, that we will go in as tourists with a secret camera, and we will do it. It just changed the dynamics of it because it was going to be, you know, an official event, which initially they'd authorised, and it was going to be taking people around and pointing things out. And that's the bit that they didn't like.
And it's great for the tourism for Scotland, like they're so stupid, I'm sorry. But they really, really are. It's like, and the Sinclairs, oh my goodness, like,
Why are they devious people?
Well, the ones that are in control of Rosslyn Chapel now, that the fraction of the Sinclairs that run it now, it is not in their business plan. It is not in their spiritual plan for people to know the truth. So this Google alert that the director had was somebody whispering in his ear saying, "Get this stopped." And that's what happened. And I exposed him as a complete fraud and a liar in the conversations that we subsequently had. And I didn't mind telling him that as well.
Good for you.
And it will come out. It will come out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I look forward to it. I'm going to look for it. You also have a book, right? That is
several books.
Coming out. The Movement.
Oh, The Secret Knowledge.
Is it The Secret Knowledge?
Is that the one?
No. Well, what happened was that there was a couple of books that I started writing, and then I stopped writing them, and I really didn't have any inspiration for quite a while to write a book. And then all of a sudden I did. And once I got that inspiration, it literally just came flooding through. And the book that I'm writing now, which I'm hoping will be out by Easter, is called The Movement, Illumination of the World. And it really is the esoteric answer to everything. It's currently nearly 200,000 words long, and it's coming up to 1,000 pages. So it's
1,000 pages.
It's a gigantic read, and every line has secret information.
It's like the Urantia book.
I feel excited about it. Even the naming it, the title is really good. The Movement, I like it.
You won't be able to pick the book up.
Well, it's like, Caroline will understand. But it's like the old yellow pages that we used to have. It's going to be that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. It'll come in useful that way at least. But it's going to be.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a gigantic read. It is going to be the answer to everything. There's going to be, literally the deepest of truths. Even quantum equations, how we can turn the Earth into a free energy system, and there's all kinds of knowledges in there that has been waiting a long, long time to be revealed.
So you never took a vow of silence, I take it?
No, I've had many secret contacts where members of secret societies and different groups have asked me to join them. But my philosophy is I belong to nothing.
Good for you.
And if you don't belong to anything, then you can say what you like.
Nobody can get you.
You can say what you like. You're not bound by the secrets of the brotherhoods, because I'm not a member of the brotherhoods.
So now, how does this information come to you?
In multiple ways. Some of it is deep research. A lot of time, a lot of effort. certainly initially, I would spend sometimes 4 or 5 hours just to find one word that would fit into what I was looking into at that time. And then that started to develop into downloads of information that then started to develop. Because when I first started, I was pretty much a multiple experiencer. But I was experiencing and seeing these things, but I really had no evidence or idea as to what it was that I was experiencing. So then that then changed, and it became, well, this is what you've seen, and now this is what it was. And then that developed into seeing advanced technology. That then developed into getting advanced quantum physics in my head that I would just write down on paper from a still image in my head. And when I looked into these quantum equations, it was revealing some quite significant things in relation to humanity in the world. How to create a portal, how to create a free energy system from Earth. How these interdimensional beings are able to travel between dimensions, and all of these things were answered through physics, through mathematics that I was just writing down. And if you were to see my apartment now, it's literally full of whiteboards that are full of mathematical equations. So that is one way in which I'm getting stuff. Some is telepathic, some is through research, some is through just innate knowing from times that I've previously been in. Sometimes I'll be sitting in February 2024, and I am consciously taken in a time slip to a different place and a different time. And from that different place and that different time, which I am fully aware of being at, I come back with information. So technically, you can say that I'm a time traveler.
So you go advanced in time, but you don't go back, or you go back and forth.
I tend to mainly go back because that's where the information that is to come back to my time is stored. So technically I'm going back, but then I have to come forward to come back to my time. So it's kind of going both ways in terms of what you deem as the past. Because when you look at everything as a dream state, and again I have mathematical proof for this, but when you look at reality being a dream, if you have a memory, you're traveling into the past. If you turn around and say, I'll just put it down, I'll do it tomorrow, what you are then creating is a manifestation waiting to happen, which is the future.
Well, like the idea that everything is all happening at once.
It is.
So there really isn't any past or future.
No, only memory and the manifestation waiting to happen. So if I sit here now and think of my childhood, then I'm traveling back to the past. I'm not.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I'm consciously traveling back to that memory. But when I think of tomorrow and I think, oh, I need to pop to the shops tomorrow morning to get X, Y, and Z, well then I'm creating a future. But everything that happens, what happens next is as a result of only now. And the past, what we believe to be the past, the present, and the future, is all in the same place.
Right.
And the things that we believe are historical are still happening.
And maybe that's why the need for truth is because, like, for me, it's very strong in me. Like it's becoming a passion, like to reveal the truth, is because that sense it all happening at once, and being able to sense it and see it, and know that what has been presented is not it.
That's right, and it's that internal fire that is the driving force for you to find out the truth. And could you imagine if everybody had that same desire? No longer could the truth be hidden. No, because people would know that they're being lied to.
It would change in an instant, in a blink of an eye. It would change.
Yeah. Some don't even care.
Well, and some are pretending to be asleep. Like, it's a real mess.
It's like, what's wrong with you?
Well, if you listen to a lot of sung words of the past, when you have the likes of John Lennon, the Beatles saying, living is easy with eyes closed, it really typifies what we are facing. Living is easy with eyes closed, because people are living with their eyes closed, because it takes a responsibility to open them.
Yeah, and stop turning away. Yeah, stop turning away.
People would rather not have to face the truth, because the truth is often not the prettiest of sights.
Yeah. And that's the holy truth.
Well, I can tell you that I never imagined, like in my wildest imaginings, that the truth was like don't need to make
as it is.
And we don't need to make stuff up. Like, it is
like,
very strange.
What? They did what?
When?
That happened?
You were
Are
who?
you kidding me?
Oh.
And that's one reaction of many.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
All our money here from the United States is going to the Vatican and the UK. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I worked with people who, like, their paychecks, it came right out of the paychecks, went straight to the church, Catholic Church. You know, like, I remember all that. Yeah. Yeah,
it really does. You know, and you have to realise that they tell us that, you know, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, and yet they're one of the richest organisations, so something doesn't compute.
Something's not right.
Absolutely. Not only that, but what about all the telescopes and things that they have too?
Well, yeah, because they're really, you know, ancient astronomers, and prophecy, biblical prophecy and otherwise, is really the celestial narrative. It's reading the stars, which was the original science, and if you can learn the stars, you know, the cosmic language, then you are able to prophesize what will happen.
Well, that was what they did, right? Like the Irish, the ancient Irish, the Turthi Danu, like when they attacked, like they knew there was eclipse happening because they were such like great scientists. So like for people who didn't quite understand it, they'd have thought, oh, magic. You know?
Well, even look at the Vedic guys, you know, way back then. India goes way back.
Well, they had the flying machines, right? They had a whole battle up there. Yep.
It is now that they were reading the stars, they were reading the celestial narrative, and when you can, you know, the word priest basically means magician.
Right.
So they were, you know, the magicians that could read the stars, and if you just imagine that. In ancient times, you know, you're a pharaoh or you're a high priest, and you go out to the people and you say, you know, in July, the waters of the Nile will rise, and you will have plenty of crops for 12 weeks, for 3 months, and then after that 3 months, the waters will recede, and there will be barren times, and then all of a sudden. You see exactly what your pharaoh and your high priest just said, and you're seeing it for yourself. You turn around and say, "Well, only gods can possibly know that. Yeah. Then they must be gods," and that really is how these systems were developed. But they were literally reading the celestial narrative. You know very well that when a star is in a particular position in the sky, it will have certain effects, and that will not change next year when the star is in the same region of sky again, because everything is a cycle. Reality, life is a cycle. So if you be able to start predicting that cycle, then you are elevated to the position of God, because only gods can know this kind of information. When really you're just looking at where the stars are going to be.
Yeah, you're using your mind, you know, like and also it's a huge curiosity of where you are, like to kind of navigate, like, yeah.
You see, the stars are extremely significant. You know, a lot of this is in modern day language, but we don't give a singular thought as to the origin. You know, when I look at the Oscars, for argument's sake, and we have the A-listers. Well, A-listers are A-list stars, which are common stars. You know, we have the word consider, which means knowledge of the stars. We have the word disaster, which means bad star. So, you know, when we have a child, we call them youngsters, which are young stars. So everything is really, you know, astronomy, astrology, that's come into the language of the world.
So it's always there, like it's kind of hidden in a way, but it's always there. Yeah, it's always there.
It is always there, and again, you know, you have to look at the meaning. Words are also magic because we spell them. So when you start looking at the everyday language of the world, and you look at what the alphabet is and where it came from, and what's hidden within the alphabet, and what it really means, and what the words that we speak really mean, then they have a completely different meaning to how they are expressed completely blindly. There's many vibrations and many secrets hidden within the words that we use every single day, but we don't really give them any thought.
You know, I wonder about this revival that we have going on with Dune. Like was it Frank Herbert or James Herbert? I always get them mixed up. The Dune saga, and that's what he does. It's the voice, and it's a weapon. I wonder about these, because when did they make that? The 1980s, I think.
Yeah.
So there's a remake, and it's pretty much in everywhere you look. You know, if I go on YouTube, there's something will pop up in regard to it. I wonder about all this. Something about that story. Yeah, there's something about that story, the desert planet, and there's just something about it. And these, what is it they call them? The priestesses. We're getting another break.
Not again. Well, listeners, we're going out for a break. You're listening to Life in the Hologram on the Revolution Radio, and we'll be right back. We're back, and you've been listening to Life in the Hologram on Revolution Radio. Michael, give your contact information while we're on our second break that we didn't know about.
Thank you. I may just devise an advert and put it on for the next half hour, but it's www.michael-feeley.com, which is Feeley, and everything is really on there and can take you in multiple directions.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. I'm really proud of Revolution Radio. They are going all out.
Yeah.
Like some of these ads are like they're stellar. They're really doing it. They're really bringing it. So thank you, behind the scene people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting. So where were we?
Where were we? I know, I go into rants.
Was I in a wormhole or?
we were talking about the unseen, the unknown, and the untaught. So.
Yeah, we've got that going on.
That stumped me there.
We had a surprise.
I keep reading the message that Michael put up. I must stop salsa dancing.
Oh my gosh.
Behind the scenes, the conversations that take place, and then the little texts are usually stellar.
And then we get serious when we come back on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're serious now.
We are serious. And then it went quiet.
Yeah. While we all laughed and disagreed.
So I was reading your book today, one of your books. I know you have many, and I couldn't have done it in a day, but I was I've been going back and forth with the book, and I'm really enjoying it. And it is about, you mentioned the dream that you've had, and it was basically an equation that was given you, the square root? I forget the number. Was it 937?
Yeah, 937.
Yeah, I did get the number. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much a daily occurrence or a nightly occurrence now. I mean, it's got to the stage where I have to take a notebook and a pen to bed.
Good.
Because I keep waking up and having to write mathematical equations down. And then, as I say, it's just like a still image in my head, and I write it down. As soon as I've written it down, it disappears from my head, but I've then got it on paper.
Right.
So it's literally an everyday occurrence, and every single one of them is something deeply significant, deeply world changing, really, and it really is. Some of the things that have been revealed to me in mathematical form, because mathematics really, and the likes of geometry, are really a way
in the world.
It is, but it's also a way for us to actually understand the greater universe and to understand ourselves, because we're geometric as well. So it is really a key, an access, a doorway to higher knowledge. and it is a universal language, and everything really follows a mathematical code. So yes, not that particular one in that particular book was the square root of 937, but that really is nothing compared to what happens now. It's literally several times a day and during the night, and sometimes I'm out and about and I will get these equations and I'll just say, just hold on a moment until I can get back home and write them down, and they just wait for me. And when I'm ready and I sit down and say, okay, ready when you are, they come flooding through. And they're all highly advanced messages.
Maybe it's Nikola Tesla.
Could be.
Well, I do know a few little things about Mr. Tesla, and some of the equations that I'm getting are leading me down the same path of research. In terms of free energy, in terms of how the Earth is really a free energy capacitor, how the pyramid gives us free energy, how we can get free energy, how we can use helicopter rotor blades that are electrical and no need for fuel. So I'm being taken down the same path and the same route as him, although my equations are different. They're leading me to the same place.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I keep telling my little great-grandsons, if you learn everything in math, really learn math, you'll be able to solve anything.
Which is true. I mean, my background in maths really, when I was at school, secondary school, our maths teacher, you could get away with it in those days, you wouldn't get away with it now, but our maths teacher used to go to the pub at dinner time, come back to school and actually fall asleep in the class.
Oh yeah.
And that was the teacher. So that was really, you can imagine that as teenagers, when the teacher's asleep, you're not going to look for a maths book. You're going to do, throw paper airplanes. You're going to do something different to occupy yourself. So really, my upbringing of maths was not really a particularly good one, and I never particularly liked the subject. But now, I love it.
Yeah.
Because the things that are being revealed, and for me, I really have a standard and a threshold. And that for me is that in order for me to go anywhere, whether it's talking at a conference, whether it's speaking on a show like this, I will not do so unless I have personally experienced the subject that I'm talking about. So for argument's sake, if I get invited to do a UFO conference, I would not be standing there talking unless I'd seen a UFO. And I've not only seen one, but I've seen dozens of them. But I would not do that unless I'd experienced it. So that is my particular threshold. So for me, I needed some kind of tangible proof, and mathematics and physics gave me that proof. Because it's really science. Now, if I go to a spiritual church and I start talking about some of the things that I've seen, then they will accept what I'm telling them, because that is within their belief system, that is within their own experience. But then if I go to a science community or a mathematical community and start talking about some of my spiritual experiences, they're going to say, well, prove it.
Yeah.
If I turn around to them and say I've seen a portal and I've seen a craft coming out of that portal, conventional science, we are told, states that portals do not exist. But they do. And if you look at Einstein's E equals mc square, which is, the father of physics, this famous quantum equation, Einstein is actually catering for the presence of portals. So all I'm saying is I have seen what Einstein knew existed. So to all you scientists out there, if you are trying to mock me, then you are mocking Einstein, the father of physics. Because all I'm doing is I have seen what he knew existed, and he catered for that in his E equals mc squared. So portals do exist. I have the mathematical proof for them, and I have seen them.
I don't know why people don't get that.
Right.
It's quite simple. When you look at what portals are, you have three curvatures in the geometry of space. So you have a flat, which is basically zero curve. So if you were to get a piece of, white paper and you laid flat, that is zero curvature. Now, if you turn that into a sphere, that becomes positive curvature. Now, inside every single sphere, there is what is known as negative curvature. A negative curvature is a cone. It is a wormhole. It is a portal. And I've managed, again using mathematics, to locate a portal that goes through the centre of Earth and through the North and South Pole, using this negative curvature within a sphere, which is Earth.
What about Antarctica? What have you seen there?
There are, and this is spoken about or written on metals not of this world inside secret rooms of the Great Pyramid. And it talks of the 7 entrance points into Earth. 2 of them are the North and the South Pole, Antarctica, and so on. So what is there are entrance and exit points from inner Earth.
That makes sense, yep.
And that's mentioned on extraterrestrial writings inside the Great Pyramid.
I got this, these people were on a Royal Caribbean cruise were supposed to go to Antarctica, like in the last couple of days, and they canceled their trip and won't give them back their money.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds criminal.
They talked about going down to like South America. And these people they don't want to go to South America. They wanted to go to Antarctica. But right. I wonder what happened in Antarctica.
Well, they like Obama was there. Yeah, Obama went there. Who else went? Somebody else went there recently. They've been going there. Like they have been gone there.
They won't let the Royal Caribbean cruise go there now. So don't book one.
Yeah, sometimes these places are more active than other times.
Yeah,
and if your trip coincides with a time of activation, they're going to divert you. When they sense a build-up of energy inside particular pyramids, the Egyptian government close the pyramid because they don't know what's coming, but they can sense it with all of this equipment that they possess. They can gauge an influx in energy. So they will close places down and stop people going there and guard them because there are times of greater activation. Just the same as, the Bermuda Triangle. Sometimes you fly through it and there's no problems. And other times you're unfortunate because it's at an active time.
And you're gone.
And then you're gone to other places.
Yeah. Portal. You're
yes,
off.
Exactly.
Yeah, whenever you fly over that, the plane gets a little rocky, and when the ship gets near it, it gets a little rocky.
I think equipment starts going off. Like I had read some accounts, this is a long time ago I read it, at the Bermuda Triangle, your equipment would start kind of giving you false readings and stuff.
Yeah, I think it was spitting some things out of there, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think I saw some, that a ship came out, but nobody was on it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's basically, it's a portal to other places, and it's kind of electromagnetism as well. So that's why all your electrical equipment starts going a bit loopy, because you're going into interference, but you are going through these tunnels in these curvature, these places of curvature, negative curve into other places.
Interesting, huh? Do you think that maybe some kind of spaceship is coming through there at the time? And
there's many places they can come through. It doesn't seem particularly difficult to create a portal. Every time we move, because we are mass, we are creating a curvature in time and space every time we move our body. So with that curvature of time and space, we are technically creating portals.
Mm-hmm.
And, we are, I again, as I said, I've been to other times. I've had portals opening up in front of me. I have had the option to walk through them, but I decided not to because I don't know where they go to.
Exactly.
I've seen them in the sky when craft have come out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically creating negative curvature, which doesn't seem to be particularly difficult.
Every time somebody dies, a portal opens. Like you have your death portals.
It does, and again, I've personally seen that.
Mm-hmm.
So it does, and they're basically like very, very like little, almost like whirlpools,
Mm-hmm.
but they're in the room, and you can actually see it's almost like a little, should we say a whirlpool or a whirlwind is happening up in the room, and absolutely you got family coming through, and you have souls leaving,
That's right.
They're going. Basically, if we could see true reality, everything is a grid. Everything is geometric dots and lines.
Mm-hmm.
And when a soul leaves the body, it goes on, should we say, a grid of electric current.
Mm-hmm.
And that soul goes, it's almost like a river of electricity. And it gets pulled along. And you will see, if you imagine that you're going past a vineyard and you see lots and lots of grapes growing in the trees, in the soul's perspective, those grapes, if you imagine, are actually clusters of light. Now, those clusters of light, which look similar to bunches of grapes, are really soul groups. And when you actually get directed down this grid system, once you reach your own soul group, you're almost dragged off this electrical current to rejoin your soul group. Now, when you look at the likes of the Giza Plateau, which is actually on an 8x8 grid, which is the true 64 keys of Enoch, which are harmonic keys, and it is that grid system that is taking the souls of the Egyptians, the pharaohs, and the high priests down this electrical current to the afterlife, to their soul group. So, if we could actually see true reality from the breath that we breathe to the sky, to the stars that are connected by lines of light, to the earth that is connected by magnetic lines, tectonic plate lines, which is what we call ley lines, we are literally existing inside an electrical or electromagnetic grid. And we are all connected, and we have an antenna that connects to higher places, which is, of course, is the pineal gland. And that is inside the head. But we are the bumping cars with the rods that connect to the electrical grid above them. And everything is an electrical grid. The sun is almost like a fan heater. It is not what science tells us. So it is really a thermal electro device. So it's like a fan heater.
Yeah, some people say it's an electric universe. Like that electricity is really, really like a source of just about a lot of stuff here, like and out there.
It is. It also gives us the word L, which of course we are told is God, but L is electricity. So it is an electromagnetic grid, and we all exist within it. As I said, the sun is like a fan heater, and the earth is an environment system, and that's really what we have. And everything is filaments. Everything is lines and dots. If you imagine that the first manifestation is the dot, which is 0 dimension but manifest. Now, if that dot goes on a walk in any direction, it becomes a line. So if you want to make that line finite instead of infinite, you put another dot. But then the line thinks, well, I can actually go a different direction. So you put another dot, and all of a sudden you have a triangle. So now you have the first manifestation of divinity in the second dimension. So you've got the dot, which is 0 dimension, you have the line, which is 1 dimension, and you now have the triangle, which is the second dimension. Now, if you start adding extra lines and extra dots, you then start to get the tetrahedron, the pyramid, which is the first manifestation of divinity in the third dimension. And if you keep adding lines and dots, you then get multiple dimensions through geometry. It then becomes vector space, which is lines, which is dots, which is a grid system. And that grid is powered by electricity.
Well said.
Mm.
Yeah, that was like you created. Like I could follow that. That was really cool. Yeah.
You just keep adding dots and lines, and you create multiple dimensions through that.
You know, I like when I think about ancient Egypt and how incredible they were, like with vibration and sound and color, and they were very, very aware. Like, well, I'm talking to the listeners. Like, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. They could actually like tune everything to like a harmonious like frequency. They were very careful about what was in the atmosphere. Like, we are so saturated now with all kinds of, they never turn anything off. Have you noticed that? Like like when they create like a new system, like radio stations, internets or whatever, they never turn anything off. So we have this multi-layered, like, it's a lot of noise.
It is, but that's deliberate, because
Sure, yeah.
The God exists in silence. So if you can take people as far away from silence as you can, the opposite of silence is noise, then you're taking them away from God, from the divine. But when you look at the Great Pyramid is also an antenna, but it's an antenna that uses corrected pi. Now, the pi that we use in modern mathematics is 3.141. Now, 3.141 as pi gives us a 0.22 of a second delay. So when we're beaming, our cell phone signals to satellites and they're coming back, because we're not using correct pi, it's creating a delay. When NASA are making coils for spacecraft, for example, they're finding that the coils are too short because they're using 3.141 as pi. The Great Pyramid uses true pi, which is 3.144.
Right.
That's why it is a perfectly accurate antenna.
So the fact that they're even using the wrong one, like, it's probably deliberate,
Well, what about Tesla's 369?
Tesla's 369, well, it's a deep, deep subject, but in essence, it is universal frequency. But when you look at, the likes of the Rosicrucians, when you look at the likes of the Knights Templars, and you see that they have a rose cross, that rose cross is also encrypting Tesla's 369 because it is known as a prime number cross. So it's hiding this 369 within the cross. So for argument's sake, the first prime numbers are 5 and 7. Now, 5 and 7 are 12. So if you add 1 and 2, it becomes 3. You get the next prime numbers, which are 11 and 13, which are 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. Then get the next two prime numbers, which are 71 and 73, which gives you 144. 1 plus 4 plus 4 is 9. So in the prime numbers of the Knights Templar cross, you have 369 of the free energy of Tesla. It's really talking about a free energy system. It's much deeper than that, but in essence, in a nutshell, you are talking about free energy, which again is the path that I'm being led down in term. And I found the mathematical equations to give the world free energy.
Well, I hope Edison doesn't come back. And
I know that
was it J.P. Morgan too?
Was it Morgan? Yeah. Where do we put the meter?
Well, yeah, that's right. But we in the past we ignored Tesla. We could have all had free energy, but we allowed ourselves to be manipulated and pay for something that's really free. And I know it's free because not only Tesla's equations tell you it's free, but my equations also tell you that it's free. And as a result of that, we can have a global free energy. And the massive long equation I'm actually looking at now as I'm speaking to you, because it's on one of those whiteboards in front of me. And it's a long equation, but nevertheless it's a free energy system with Earth as a capacitor for electricity.
I like that. Now we need to just get rid of the grumps.
We need to get rid of a lot of things.
Absolutely.
But certainly, things that are universally free and abundant.
Mm-hmm.
We are the only species on the planet to pay for them. So,
right? It's insane. Yeah. I mean, I look at some of the buildings here, like, in just the area that I live in. They're hundreds and hundreds of years old. Like, they have been paid for over and over and over again. And yet, they still are, like, charging rent. It's like...
But the fascinating part is those buildings are still standing.
And they will.
Yeah.
They will
Look
stand.
at the buildings they build today.
Mm-hmm.
The ironic thing is, humanity is really allowing itself to be completely insanely manipulated. Now, I don't know about where you live, Caroline, but by me and by certain areas in central England, there's a lot of old Victorian houses.
Yep, I'm saying.
And you will notice that a lot of the windows are bricked up. There's no glass in them. Now, the reason that is they used to be taxed on sunlight.
That's right.
So, for God's sake.
So,
yeah, can you believe that, Madeline?
In order to not be taxed, they used to brick up the windows because then they were getting less sunlight into the house, reducing their tax. So, firstly, who has the...
Oh, my gosh, here we go again. Well, listeners, you're listening to Life in the Hologram on the Revolution Radio Network, and we're here today with Michael Feeley, and we'll be right back. We're back. You're listening to Life in the Hologram on Revolution Radio with Madeline, Rudy, and Caroline Bell Tumbley, and it's 2/16/24, and Michael Feeley's our guest, and Caroline has her show coming up after ours at 9 p.m., Navigating the Truth. And Michael, give your contact information again, so if our listeners missed it the first time, they can get it on the second time.
Thank you. It's michael-feeley.com, which is Feeley.
Yeah, and you can find him on Facebook, too.
Yes.
So where were we? We were going for free energy. And then we had our surprise break.
Buildings. Yeah, Victorian buildings.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
we were breaking the windows open.
Brick the window up so they wouldn't be charged tax on sunlight. Well, firstly is who has such a God complex that they believe they can charge for sunlight? And secondly, why do we tolerate it?
Yeah, but if they keep on, saying that the moon is going to go dark, and the people don't realize that this is actually a timed event, they're going to believe that they are somehow superior, right? They have to shake that they don't need saviors. They don't need somebody to tell them what to do. I don't know what the answer is. I know what needs to happen, but I don't know what the answer is.
Well, again, the answer is to find out what the truth is. Find out what reality is, and the moon is not a planet, and we need to. It's actually an observation post, so it was put there to look like a planet, but it's not. No. We just need to open our eyes and seek the truth and face the fact that we've been duped, and then start rebuilding with the correct people in charge, with the correct motives and intentions. And if we do that, the world will be a different place, which it will be.
Yeah, it didn't need to get like this. That's for sure. It didn't need to go down this road. Yeah, I didn't. I did not.
No.
Not take any responsibility.
neither did I.
Me either.
I always felt like the misfit. Yeah. The raggy doll that was thrown off the conveyor belt.
But that's what
never
happens,
believed
right?
any of their crap to begin with.
Yeah, and you get so isolated for it, throughout your life. There's a lot of isolation in that, standing up for, just standing up for what you believe is true.
Well, you do, but if you are inner directed, then you really don't care what people think.
Yeah, you don't. And actually being on your own isn't a problem either. It's not. It really isn't.
It teaches self-reliance. If you are happy in your own company, then you are never alone.
Right.
And as I say, the place that contains everything is silence. And society, the world, has become extremely noisy because that is taken us away from where everything is.
Yeah. Well, everything wants their attention, you know, like it's like everything is like vying for your attention. Look here, look there, no, look over here. And it's like, no, leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm the same, you know. Everywhere you go, there's somebody trying to stop you or speak to you about something that's really not
nonsense.
You know?
I had a door-to-door salesman at 7:30 last night.
Really?
I've been back in this country where I am coming up on 8 or 9 years.
No,
but I've never heard it, you know. And also, like, I'm in a social housing area. I mean, a lot it's not really that safe, you know. So it's a case of like door-to-door salesmen. They're pretty much. I don't
not
think it's
supposed to be there, especially at 7:30 at night.
It didn't seem. I mean, he showed me his ID, and I just told him I wasn't interested. My daughter was behind the door, and she's gone, "No, we're not interested." You know, so it was like I shut the door, and he chapped other doors. Like I heard him talking to other people.
Oh,
so I haven't heard that. Like that's got to be a tough way to make a living, you know.
It is. I tend to be the victim of cold calls on the phone, and they'll call me up on my number that from wherever they got, I don't know, but they will then start saying, "Can you just confirm who you are?" Well, you just called me.
Yeah, really.
You know, so you know you should know who I am because you just called my phone and asked to speak to me. So I tend to get lots and lots of cold calls that way when your details are sold.
Yeah. You know, there's a new level, spam callers. This happened to me about 6 months ago, and I answered the phone, and she said it was something about my computer, and I said to her, "How did you get my number?" And she said to me, "Don't interrupt me when I'm speaking to you." And I went, "Bye." Yeah, it's a whole other level of spam callers. Don't interrupt me. Like I nearly choked.
Yeah.
I probably would have laughed.
I know. I wish you would have got that call, Madeline. You'd have just cracked up.
Well, I had a really professional one not so long back when they called me up and said, "We're calling to see if you've had your COVID jab," and I said, "What's it got to do with you?" Basically, they tell me to F off.
Wow.
And
I think I had a girl that hung up on me today.
Oh.
She was trying to sell me diabetic supplies, and I really couldn't understand her. And then she got mad and she hung up because I was about ready to say, "We get somebody on the phone that speaks English."
Yeah. You insulted her.
Yeah.
Good for you, Madeline. It's a very strange world we live in. Very, very strange. I mean, I like privacy. You know?
Well, you don't have any because all these places have been, their privacy was broken. It seems like everybody has an issue with their database being hacked. Wouldn't you say, Michael?
Yes, because again, it's all part of a smart grid system. But ironically, you know, we have laws to protect people's privacy, and yet so many people are selling your details, and they're just phoning you ad hoc saying, you know, "We're trying to sell you something," or "I'm just calling about the accident you had." Well, I have never had an accident, so you know, it is really when all your details are being sold and your privacy is no longer a private matter for everybody. But we are allowing these things to happen. You know, I mean, the amount of adverts that I see on UK TV talking about Ancestry.com, you know, when people send in their DNA to trace their relatives. But when you send your DNA in, you are helping to compile a database. And that genetic database is accessible to anybody. You know, when we put in all of these private bits of information and pictures about ourselves and everything on Facebook, it is a data collection center. So, you know, we are allowing ourselves to eradicate privacy.
Well, they have class action lawsuits against all these companies that they had a data breach.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I did here, like when I first came back here, was after a couple of years of being here, and I could see like the corruption and stuff. Every single company, like social housing, council, I demanded all my data. Like I demanded everything they were holding. And they didn't even know how to compile it, you know? So I kind of gave them the heads up though, because later on that all started coming down the pipe. So they pretty much got a little more organised, but they're still not organised. They're still like, they're doing things they shouldn't be doing, like putting up websites where they're not giving you an option to reject the cookies.
Mm.
You know, that should be an option on every single website now. Like or at least like to reduce it to only like necessary tracking. And a lot of them are not complying. They're not complying. They're still collecting the information and they're still passing it on and selling it.
Yeah, and you can always make the connection. You know, you go somewhere and give someone your email address or your phone number, which even in shops now, you know,
I know they want it, yeah.
And, you know, but by the time you get home, all of a sudden you've had 10 emails trying to sell you something.
Or a text.
I literally once went online to order some flowers for, I can't remember what the occasion was, but literally just on a website on the internet, ordered some flowers to be delivered. Literally within 5 minutes, I logged onto Facebook and there was all adverts specifically
for
flowers.
Within 5 minutes.
Well, Michael, which was your favorite book to write?
The one that I'm writing now, simply because it
has all the information.
It is. I mean, all the other ones really were, I think, building up for this. All the other books were, you know, building the shell of the house, and now this is the roof and the finished article. So this one by a long way is the favourite one ever, because there's so much information in there, and people that there are contributions in this book from people who have never ever contributed in this way ever before, and people will have a few surprises as to the contributors of the book. So this one by a long way is my favourite, because it is so gigantic. There's so much in there, and it, as I say, it really is the esoteric answer to everything.
Great. Well, now let me ask you this: how did you get involved with David Icke?
How did I get involved? A number of years ago, Gareth Icke, David's son, put a Facebook message out saying that he was filming a series called The Walk, and he was asking basically what The Walk was is walking around certain areas of the UK, and he's going to various sacred sites, and he put out an appeal saying, if anybody has an alternative view for some of the places that I'm going to be stopping at, get in touch, and, you know, we may invite you to become part of the documentary. I didn't actually see the Facebook post, but a friend of mine just put a message on the thread saying, Michael, are you interested in this? And because he'd mentioned my name, obviously I became aware of it. And I just replied to him saying, yes, you know, if Gareth wants me to be involved, then I quite happily will be. And he actually got in touch and said, what do you talk about? And I told him, and I met him at a cathedral, which was in Coventry, which is in the Midlands of England. And we got there, and for those who know Coventry Cathedral, it has no roof because it was bombed in the Second World War. And the day in question, it was really, really rainy. It was a horrible, horrible winter's day. So we couldn't really film in a cathedral with no roof on a bad day. So we found an alternative location near. And I was doing the interview, and the cameraman was shivering. It was a horrible day. But when they went back to the studio and started to edit it, they realised that it was actually a subject that they were really, really into. And I then started to get invited to do more and more things. And I was invited to, as I say, to do the film, to do documentaries, to do one-off things, to do a series. And it just developed from there in terms of, well, we're filming this. Do you want to be involved in it? Can you come to the studio? So when I'm at the studio, David is often there. And that's really how I met him and I've had really, really great conversations with him and know his family and know him and bump into him quite regularly. I'm doing an event on the 21st of March where me and David are talking on the same stage. So it's really that's how I kind of got to know him and kind of became involved in the network. And as a result of that, now I do my own weekly show called Secret Knowledge, and that again is a result of being actively involved in many of the projects that they've got going.
And then where can people see this Secret Knowledge?
It's actually on Ickonic.com, which is their channel. So it's a subscription channel. So people need it's not very expensive, but it's a subscription channel, and there's lots of contributions from me. There's lots of contributions from many people, including David himself. So that's really how it kind of went from the embryo stage to the grown adult in terms of Ickonic and David Icke.
It's very cool.
Synchronicities, huh?
Well, it is. If my friend hadn't have copied me into the thread, then it may never have happened. But again, maybe he needed to. And so one thing really turned into two, into three, into four, into five, and it's ended up being a lot of things since then.
Yeah, because he's been around for a long time.
He really has. Yeah, he's one of the first that I remember, calling out all this stuff. Way back in the day. Like, I remember when he was a presenter. For sports. Yeah. I watched him do one of the Snooker World Championship finals in the 1980s. The ironic thing, you really don't know, because somebody sent me a photograph a number of months ago, which was a picture of me in the audience, second row in, at a 9-hour David Icke talk at Brixton Academy in London. And they sent a picture of me, a picture of me in the audience. Now, if you'd have said, when I was sitting there in the audience, 10, 11 years ago, that you would be sharing a stage with David Icke, I'd have said, you need section and you need to be in the loony bin. but that's what's happened. You never know where your path will lead. And I'm so glad that your path has led you on to Life in the Hologram on Revolution Radio. And it has been awesome. It's been really, really interesting talking to you. And I hope you will come back, when you...
He'll be back.
You'll be
Michael and I go back a long way.
It's good.
What is it, since 2015, maybe?
Absolutely. I like to say that me and Madeline are like reclining chairs. We go back a long way.
Yeah. I like Michael right from the get-go. His information is astonishing.
It is.
It's fun. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the platform. I enjoy speaking about the things that I'm a victim of the passion of. And it's nice to be able to discuss these things. So I would gladly come back anytime.
Absolutely.
And I would also think that the subscription, you're going to get the ones who are really interested. It's going to eliminate any kind of trolls when you set up these subscriptions. I think that's the way to go for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been victim of the trolls and the haters and the keyboard warriors, but I really just use the delete button and get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because it's really, I'm here now really for the serious people that want to evolve and want to do things, and for those who don't, just step to the side and let us through, because that really is, my attitude based on previous mistakes, and engaging 4 or 5 days in arguments that have not moved anybody forward, anything.
Right.
So I just use the delete button now and just
takes up too much energy.
Exactly. Just deal with the people who are serious about making change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Michael's information just needs to get out there.
And it's evolving, like this.
Yeah.
This book sounds I love the name of it, the movement. It sounds important.
You are very, very accurate in what you do say, and I don't mean that in any other way, other than there are influences who have been some of the greatest minds to ever incarnate on Earth, and they have influenced the writing of this book. And when people read the book, they will realise exactly who I'm speaking about.
It's intriguing. I want the book.
Yeah. Well, don't you think anybody that's on like the path of a light being or light warrior or whatever you want to call us needs the book?
It certainly, in terms of feelings, in terms of, as I say, the influences that have invested their valuable time in making the book what it is, using me as a conduit to express themselves and deliver, should we say, sacred and significant information for humanity. Mm-hmm. It's not going to do anything other than reach the right place, because the people and again, when you read it, I will leave it as a surprise at the moment, but when you read the book, you will realise that these particular influences have influenced other significant people as well. One of them being Nikola Tesla. So I'm in good company.
Yeah.
I knew that when you're talking free energy.
Yeah.
Nikki came to him.
Absolutely. Nikola Tesla is a star traveller that came to Earth to help humanity, and we rejected him. So they are trying again, and it is me who is now taking the flame of knowledge to go over basically the same thing and provide the formula for free energy. And that's what I'm doing.
Cool. Forward we go.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to go forward.
We have to. Yeah, there's no back. Yep. Forward. I think it's a great message. It is. I love it. So I do, and it's necessary. We need it. We need more of it. We need as much as we can get. Oh, I was happy that the Daily Show was back. At least, I know that sounded really off, random.
What's the Daily Show?
Jon Stewart, he's the one that will poke fun at everything, and he disappeared with lockdown and all that. But he's an American comedian. I can't believe you don't know him, Madeline. The Daily Show, Jon Stewart. He will poke fun at everybody, and it in such a light-hearted way that it gets people laughing again, whereas we've all kind of got into this place where people aren't even allowed to laugh anymore, It's anyway, but it's no all doom and gloom, and so don't let me go there, so I'm not going there.
I'm going to laugh. I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't made it illegal yet, so let's continue to laugh now.
Right. Yeah, and I wanted the big one, Billy Connolly, during lockdown. I wish they would have been mentally fit for. I would have loved to have heard him get up and just say what he thought. But then again, I don't even know if he's now being co-opted at this point as well. I don't know.
Yeah, never do. Normally I don't listen to conversationalist comedians, but I did. Mm-hmm. I did listen to Billy Connolly, and I was
He was funny. Yeah, he was funny.
Very, very funny. Mm-hmm. I've seen him on chat shows and different things, and everybody, including me, was in absolute hysterics.
Oh, so yeah.
He's a funny guy.
Mm-hmm. And we need them. We need the fun, the ones that remind us not to be thinking that taking ourselves so seriously at times. It's well, we have to do the work. There's no doubt about that. We have to do the work. That's the only way out, is to do the work.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we can't enjoy it,
Right.
And a good laugh, a good joke, is a way to get through the day.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's 5 minutes with Madeline. 5 minutes with Madeline. She'll have you laughing.
The only limitation to divine wisdom is the capacity of the form to receive it. So let's expand ourselves, have some fun, get out of it what we can, and get to where we need to get.
We deserve it, We've worked so hard. We deserve it.
It's coming. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about portals. I have to tell you this. I watched this TikTok video, and this guy was using 2 phones to create a portal. I said, I got 2 phones. Let me try this.
You're still here, Madeline. It never worked.
So I said, in my bedroom, and I said, okay, I'm ready. Where's the portal?
Yeah.
It never happened.
It's where you're going to end up. I mean, I've had them open up in front of me as I've been walking through trees and forestry, and people have said to me, why didn't you walk through it? I said, well, because for one, I don't know where it's going, and 2, I don't know if I can come back. Exactly. And I'm too cautious to just be walking into these places.
Oh boy, here we go. This is the real. This is the
ending. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being on the show.
Michael.
Thank you, Caroline. Tune in to Caroline's show right here after Life in the Hologram. Bye bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.
Join me on the Brian Rouge Show on Revolution Radio, Eastern Standard Time, every Tuesday night from 6 to 8. We talk about the 4 most vital things, in my view, affecting all of humanity. Number 1 is UFOs and aliens and their agenda for the advancement of humanity. Number 2 is the Jewish establishment's control over all aspects of human civilization. Number 3, the truth about Adolf Hitler, how he was the opposite of what we've been told. Number 4 is advanced ancient global civilizations. Join me on the Brian Rouge Show, Tuesday nights from 6 to 8 on Studio B on Revolution Radio.
Transcending time and space, let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Okay, you don't need to expect us. We're already here.